Welcome back to Tao of Twang. We're going to do some strumming today. Had a lot of questions and comments about this on the channel, and a lot of are asking about rhythm playing. Can you spend more time on rhythm? And I realize that that means in a lot of other contexts of like barred positions and kind of in other grooves and things. And we're going to do that too. But I thought with the first one of these, we're going to just kind of mix them into the channel here and there. Okay. For this first session with it, I thought we'd just go after a strum that's just, like just a good old fashioned, I kind of wish I was using an acoustic, but it's harder to get that set up and get it sounding good and everything. And everybody likes the telly, so I hear. So we'll just go with that. The chords I'm using are G, D, and A minor. We're going to be able to apply this to a whole bunch of things. That's just for the demonstration. Mostly we'll just use G as we go through this process. So look at this thing, right? That doesn't look very human, does it? Right? Obviously, something like this is not going to capture the nuances of a person strumming a musical instrument. Okay, but if we put it into this kind of space and look at it, a little bit more geometrically, maybe you take that back and, in your own way, in your own time, it becomes part of your, being able to kind of trust and lean on something, right? The thing that I see and hear about and have been through myself most often with this topic and the troubles with it, and many a guitar teacher have failed to convey anything about the real feeling of strumming a guitar, but we keep trying. Is this kind of wherever there's a space in this drum, is this kind of, well, I'm going to hit this one, then I'm going to wait, and then put that other piece in there, and it becomes this kind of thing where you're like kind of stabbing at the air, you're stabbing at your instrument to just almost kind of, get lucky and, hit. And that's not helped by a lot of demonstrators and demonstrations of teachers and things just going, just follow along, man. It's just, get in the groove. I do that. I'm guilty of it. So that's why we're doing this, to try to really help you with some of this. Now, let's just look at sort of the legend of this thing for a second. See how it says down at the bottom, it's 1 bar of 16ths in 4/4 time. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of, business with that. Long and the short of it is, in 4 time, you have 4 beats in a measure, okay? And each one of those beats can also be divided into, other components or events, time events, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The way that we say, that's where I'm just counting the quarter notes, it's called, or the 4 beats in the measure. Go at a slow tempo. The way that we phonetically speak these 16th notes and 8th notes is 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. You end up with 16 in there. See how that works? If we took out the E and the A, we'd just have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Those are called 8th notes, where you would have 8 notes of equal length that would fill the space of one measure, right? Quarter, 8th, 16th. So there's a little bit of background on that. For our purposes here today, everything is mapped out in 16ths. And the differences in the shades of red, and same with the green up there, really doesn't mean anything other than just to kind of give you something to follow along, that it's beat 1, beat 2, beat 3. See? And then each one of those beats is divided into a beat E and a, right? Now, speaking of the green one at the top there is very close to what I played in the intro. So that's kind of where we're headed, right? But here's a couple of steps to help you get there. Again, instead of just saying, just jump in, man, it's frustrating, isn't it? So the arrows down at the bottom, I guess the last little piece of legend here is just alternating strumming uh, down, up, right? And it's just like that all the way across. The interesting thing after we do this first line is you'll see that even when you're not making contact with the strings, and that's what this is really about, everywhere going up where there's a black space is no contact, right? Or muted or excluded, right? That's where the rhythm comes from, all right? It's what you're taking away. But we start with the full thing going across. One E and the two E and the three E and the four E and the, okay? Spend time on it. Don't say, oh, that's so simple. I'm just got, no, what's the next one? It's not going to work. Do it 6 times around at least, right? Then we go to the next one, and based on what we just said, there's some black ones mixed in there. We take away a note. We don't play a note there, or we don't make contact, right? But this is the key to the whole thing. Your strumming hand keeps making the same up and down motion, right? Remember what we said about the stabbing? It's like there's a glitch in every other beat. It's like starting over or something, right? The the cure for that is this has to keep going, and playing that bottom row like that a lot is what's going to get you there. So up to the next line. Okay. Now, pretty straightforward based on what we just said, but let's break it down for just a second. One E and okay. My hand is still going, but I'm making contact on. I'm making content too, aren't I? I'm making contact on the one and the ah. Okay. Then go to beat 2. Remember, the whole thing is one measure, 4 beats, and those beats are divided into 16ths, right? Now, it goes right to the on beat 2. Okay, does that all the way across. And if you split that measure and do the first chords of our progression and then do a full measure for the third chord, you'll get. Now, I know what you're thinking. And if you're doing this, hopefully, right now, what's happening is like, now when I got to go from that right down to that next one and change chords, that's what the heck. The wheels fall off, right? Maybe, depending on how familiar you are with this. Don't worry. Stay on one chord, right? It'll come, and you'll see that as you go, you can loosen it up. It's not as strict. The more comfortable you get, and you can give yourself, part of that time to shift the chord and things like that. I think that's the other, besides the stabbing and the kind of, not keeping a steady up and down. I think that's the other thing that really is the barrier for a lot of folks. Is my chord changing speed is interfering with the whole thing, right? And that's going to happen, but just be patient with it, and slow it down. Now, so we've got the first 2 rows we've worked through. The next one works the same way. there's not near as many blank spaces, but the first part of it looks the same as the row below it. Except it goes back sort of like the bottom row, and I make contact with every 16th in that second measure. Okay, I'm just going to use the G for that one, right? In the interest of time. Makes sense? Start over each time if you need to at the bottom and work up. Okay, spend time on this. This isn't going to be over with in 15 minutes, right? For many of you. Now, so far, there's always been contact on the number, right, where it goes to the next beat, right? We haven't taken a rest, we call it, on or excluded that one yet. But the top one, now there I went from one, one, E and one, E and three. Okay, I kind of stopped it right there. This one's going to take a little working out. Okay. One nice thing, if you haven't noticed it already, is you're always going to be ready to go back down on the downbeat. If you do this and you're true to it, right? You're not going to be, running back out of left field, throwing stuff around to see if you can get back on the downbeat. We all do it, and don't worry about it. So I think you can see the process. That top one gets a little, stinkier, right? But it's got a nice sound once you get it going. Okay, and there's a couple little nuanced things about this that I'll mention, but again, don't overthink what I'm about to tell you. It's more stuff to like kind of relieve you from overthinking. Is, after a while, get you something with a beat or so going, a metronome or something. Set it down low and really stick to this. Even if it sounds kind of square and mechanical, that's fine. And then you can, kind of, I've been saying don't make contact, and that is the first step of this. But sometimes you can also, still kind of hit it with your pick, and you'll do this inadvertently as well, and that's okay. But you're not pressing the chord down, right? You're kind of, okay, we're going to talk about that in an upcoming video, the next one, where we'll build off of this. That kind of mixing in the palm muting and the stuff. But see, a lot of videos that you see, and all of us are guilty of this, the creators, is we'll throw in like half a dozen of these techniques, and, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's in this time, and then just this strum pattern, and then mute out this one, and then palm mute it, and then that's too much. I get it. Hopefully this will help you sort some of this out. Let me know how it goes. All right. Look for some more. Take care now.